All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Facebook Live. We have a very quiet shop today. It's a one-man show, so I am going to take the liberty of going around and maybe just briefing on the two shop guys projects, and then we can talk a little bit about what I have going on. So since we're here, let's go over and take a look at Mark's project. This is a Chris Fitch designed wall cabinet. It is a cherry cabinet, wall cabinet, cherry frame panels for the doors. It is a shoji, which is hard to say 3 times fast, project. So it's a Japanese inspired piece. It has this lattice work on here. Mark's done a really good job of cutting these smaller parts using, of course, table saw, and then also using our drum sander to get them smooth and to get that really nice snug fit that they need, because I think ultimately these aren't going to get glued in. They might be more of a press fit, but again, I'll let him talk about that a little bit more and kind of the background behind the piece. But it looks like he's made some pretty good progress. The casework is done. It looks like the door frames are done. He just needs to do some sanding and apply the actual rice paper to the back of these. But it is a neat little project. Again, very simple form, but again, just a little bit different kind of technique involved. Anybody can remember years ago I did a shoji style serving tray, kind of along the same lines, very traditional frame, and then there's a lot of different shoji patterns that you can come up with as a kind of an insert or a decorative insert for it. But again, that's ultimately what drove the project. But again, don't want to get into too much detail and steal Mark's thunder, and so we'll talk a little bit more of that next week. Actually, he'll be gone. Never mind. It'll be 2 weeks for Mark. Otherwise, we can go take a look at Steve's project he has going on over here. This is a Chris Fitch design project. It is, if I can remember correctly, based off of Lloyd Wright's Smithsonian style furniture and homes that he did. They were a style of homes that were designed for middle class, working class people. Very inexpensive to build, but included a lot of the architectural elements that Lloyd Wright instilled in a lot of his other pieces. He was kind of developing this new way of life, where design, I guess, ultimately kind of drove, or was the design was inspired by people's ways of life, and so the layouts were very open. There was common area spaces, but also utilizing materials that were, again, very accessible and current for the time. But there was some furniture he designed to accommodate or complement the buildings themselves. And so Chris has this bench that he did. It looks like there's 3 drawers. It's got a cushion top, so there'll be a little bit of upholstery work going on here. Looks like the material of choice is ash for all the legs, panels. Looks like it might be, I guess it's hard to tell if these are solid wood panels or if they're plywood, but my guess is they actually might be hardwood, although I'm seeing a piece of 1/4 inch ash plywood over here. So either way, Steve's made some really good progress. He's typically pretty efficient with his time. And this time next week, I foresee this definitely being done. If it doesn't have finish on it, it certainly will have all its drawers and maybe some upholstery done. So I'll be curious to see what they end up using for the upholstery material and the color or pattern they use. Otherwise, now we're back to me. I've got a couple things in the works right now. I have a Art Nouveau style piece. It's a floor standing mirror I've been working on. It's been a very challenging piece to do because Art Nouveau is very organic, very sinuous lines, and trying to implement that into solid wood pieces without having it, be completely driven by hand carving is a little bit of a challenge. But I do have a very good framework of how this piece is going to look. I've got a model in the computer, but now I'm just essentially doing what I always do, is I kind of create these models without parts in them to kind of get the form that I want, and then I start to deconstruct them and think about them in 3-dimensional space. What sort of joinery is going to work, what sort of appliques, and all the other sort of things that are involved in designing the project. And so I will say I have a good foundation for what I'm doing. I do have a model in the computer. Maybe this time next week I'll have something actually finished. Either way, I will have a visual aid. The other thing I'm working on is a project for shop notes. We typically like to do usually it's like 3 to 5 shop projects that are like plywood projects that you can build very quickly, maybe even in a weekend to kind of help you get set up with a very like boilerplate shop. So I know a lot of times we've done in the past like rolling carts for contractor style saws. We've done quick, very simple tables for routers. We've also done workbenches, sawhorses, and so what I decided to do instead of doing 5 this time, just for space and to, again, maybe have a little bit more detail on these, is I'm doing 3. I'm going to do a set of assembly boxes that can be stacked, but also used in tandem with one another. So if you wanted to put a piece of plywood over them, you could use it as a work surface for like an assembly table, or if you just, again, want to get something up off the floor. The other one I'm doing is I'm going to do like a full-size floor-standing cabinet. Space is always at a premium, so I like having a big cabinet so I can store tools, and so there'll be a double door cabinet for that. And then I've also done a workbench, and so again, talk about space being at a premium, I'm going to do another work surface. This will all be built out of home improvement style lumber, so you should be able to get it at like a local, maybe not Ace, but like Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's, or if you do have like a lumber place outside of the bigger box stores, it should be material you're able to get. We have a tendency to use a lot of Baltic birch around here just because of, we have access to it. It works really well for what we're doing, but we realize that the cost of that has kind of gone up significantly, and we've had people write in that it's just difficult for them to source. And so I enjoy doing projects where people have access to materials, and so that's kind of what's driving this one. I've been dying to use some OSB underlayment just because visually I like the texture of it. So I'm going to integrate that into these 3 pieces, and then I'll probably do a secondary plywood too for doing a lot of the lengths and framing and that sort of thing. But yeah, look forward to that next week. Otherwise, I think that's all I have this week. So join us next Thursday, usually 1 to 1:30. Thanks everybody. Bye.